Oppenheimer I think Oppenheimer is more surprising and more impressive than what Barbie's done. I know that might be a hot take because Barbie's like the highest grossing film of the year. It opened to like 166 million. It's at like 1.3 or 1.4 billion dollars now. So people think it's a hot take, but I always expected Barbie to do well, to be big. And I think about a few months before, or not a few months, a few weeks, sorry, before Barbie's release, I said it was going to be $1 billion movie. And no one believed me. But hey, look where we are now. It massively exceeded it. And Barbie is surprising. There's no doubt about it. To get to over 600 million domestically, it's huge. Oppenheimer, to me, though, that is the more impressive one. Because with Oppenheimer, a lot of people, they cope with this whole Oppenheimer box office success by saying, "Oh, Christopher Nolan, oh, good cast." It's a lot more than that. We've seen, a big director and big cast all the time that struggle to make good money, just because of the subject matter, the marketing, all those kind of factors. But anyway, Oppenheimer, that's crossed 912 million at the worldwide box office. 912 million. By the way, this is exceeding Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's exceeding Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's exceeding The Little Mermaid. All of these big movies and ones that we thought had a good chance at being the best or biggest movie of the year, it's beaten that. I know it's beaten Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. You combine The Flash and Mission Impossible's total gross together worldwide, Oppenheimer beats both of them combined. That's how impressive this is. So now it's at 912 million at the worldwide box office. It's now the highest grossing biopic movie of all time, passing Bohemian Rhapsody. It continues to surprise. It continues to be more impressive. And the reason for this is, like, Bohemian Rhapsody, it's based on Queen and Freddie Mercury, which, the Queen's one of the best-selling musical artists of all time. The band is, I think, they're at least in the top 10. And they're iconic. Their songs are iconic. Everyone loved Bohemian Rhapsody when it came out. It got a ton of Oscar buzz as well. So, yeah, to compare that to Oppenheimer, Robert Oppenheimer, who was involved with the planning and creation of the atomic bomb, it's a very different thing. Robert Oppenheimer, I don't know how many people would know him prior to this movie, but it would surely be below Queen, and at least perhaps that could be wrong. But if we look at general interest levels, people are more interested in Queen than they are in Robert Oppenheimer. I think that's a pretty safe thing to say. That's pretty accurate there. And so for this one to pass it as the biggest biopic of all time, it blows my mind. You're looking at things in retrospect. Just over 2 years ago, Universal landed the rights to Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, and that was because of Warner Brothers' decision for the day and date releasing in cinemas and on HBO Max at the time, called HBO Max, releasing on that the same day. And Nolan is a big advocate for the cinema experience, so he wasn't making his next movie with them. But his demands with Universal were quite high. So his demands were $100 million budget, $100 million marketing, 90 to 120 day theatrical window. So it must be in theaters for 90 to 120 days before going to any streaming service or any kind of physical media release. They needed a 3-week blackout period before and after release. Now, what that means is that 3 weeks before Oppenheimer, Universal could release no movies, nothing. 3 weeks after Oppenheimer's release, nothing as well. And then from the final, Nolan also wanted to be a part of the final cut of the film and to have 20% first dollar gross. And so these are massive demands. I have not seen demands like this from a director ever, just because it covers so much different things. it's demanding that the studio doesn't release things in a certain time, something that Nolan shouldn't have any control over. It's controlling budget, marketing, how long it's in theaters, and how much he gets paid. But I don't think Universal are complaining because now they got a 900 million box office movie, and that's 200 million if you include the production budget and marketing. So the profits from this are amazing. It's going to be so good. And at 20% of the box office, I mean, what would that's $180 million for Nolan himself. Yeah. Oh, he's balling right now. But fair enough, he makes some of the best movies that we have. Just incredible. Oppenheimer's done. As for where its final gross is going to be, might be able to stretch it out to 950. Might. I think you're going to be looking between 940 and 950 by the final thing of this. If they want to do like a exclusive IMAX week or something like that, then I could see a little bit of a boost. But I think $1 billion is out of reach at this time. I at one point thought that Oppenheimer might get to $1 billion, but the China release, while the pre-sales were good, it hasn't translated to the best performance. It's had a very good performance for a Hollywood release since COVID. But yeah, it's dropping pretty radically over there. All right.